of Union Tanzania going strong. Tanzania's union proves exemplary and enduring.
Congratulations for being an excellent example of unity, togetherness, and stability.
Hongereni sana kwa Watanzania wote mnapoadhimisha miaka 60 ya Muungano.
Pongezi zangu za dhati kwa Watanzania wote.
Good evening, I am Teddy Mparinyanga. You can also follow us live via YouTube channel TBC Online and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook and X pages at TBC Online. The President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, says that the 60th anniversary of the union between Tanganyika and Zanzibar is a great milestone in the development of Tanzania, benefiting other countries, including the Southern African Development Community region. President Samia Suluhu Hassan made the remarks during the 60th anniversary of the Union of Tanganyika and Zanzibar, which was held in Dar es Salaam, emphasizing hard work, unity and solidarity as key elements for Tanzania's prosperity. Here are more details from Peter Mganga.
It is 60 years of the Union of Tanganyika and Zanzibar, and to mark the 10 historical decades, various high-profile dignitaries from various countries around the world are here at Uhuru Stadium. President Samia Suluhu Hassan says unwavering will, unity and solidarity are key pillars holding strong the union.
My call to all Tanzanians is for them to continue to work hard for the development of our nation. Our elders told us that hard work is the measurement of humanity. When we stand up to defend the rights of Tanzanians, we should ensure that those rights align with our responsibilities, which are to work hard in order to ensure a nation that has humanity.
Msingi za maisha ya mwanadamu zipatikane na kustawisha utu wa watu wetu.
On the other hand, the President of Zanzibar and the Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, said that the union should be treasured for the benefits of the nation and the neighboring countries.
The
United Republic of Tanzania continues to be respected due to its union, which has lasted for a long period of time and has peace and solidarity. I thank the leaders of the former phases of the government of the United Republic of Tanzania and the revolutionary government of Zanzibar for its efforts to strengthening the objectives of the union and to keep on working on the challenges that arise.
Na kuzifanyia kazi changamoto za muungano kwa dhamira ile ile ya waasisi wa taifa hili.
Further, the President of Burundi, Evariste Ndayishimiye, says that the brotherhood between Tanzania and Burundi is signified solidarity and cooperation between the two states, while the President of Comoros, Azal Osman, vows to deepen economic and social cooperation with Tanzania. Burundian used to go to Tanzania to sell farming tools, and those from Uvinza would come to sell salt. Boundaries were brought by colonialists, but now Tanzanians from Kigoma and Kagera can be differentiated from a Burundian. Tanzania has become a country with a great history for many African countries. Tanzania was used as an important catalyst in supporting the independence of the many African countries. I would like to promise that Comoros will cooperate with the Tanzania in the economic and social spheres as part of promoting cooperation between these two countries. The 60th anniversary of the Union stands as an important manifestation for the present and future generations. And today, great history has been written. Peter Mganga, TBC News.
In marking 60 years of the Union, the President of the United Republic of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, has pardoned more than 1,082 prisoners as per the authority given by the Constitution of the United Republic of Tanzania. Here are more details.
Those pardoned include prisoners with chronic diseases, prisoners aged 70 years or older, pregnant women and mothers jailed with babies, and prisoners with disabilities. More than 1,082 prisoners have benefited from presidential pardon, whereby 29 of them have been released today, while another 20 have had their death penalty commuted to life imprisonment, and more than 1,006 prisoners have had their sentences reduced. The prisoners released today have been urged to obey the law and cooperate with other citizens in their communities in building the nation.
As part of marking 60 years of Tanzania's union, TBC News has spoken with a number of diplomats representing various countries in Tanzania. To start off here is the American ambassador to Tanzania, Michael Battle, saying the United States greatly values 60 years of union and remains optimistic on Tanzania's economic growth, starting by explaining where currently do Tanzania and U.S. ties stand and how can individual Tanzanians benefit.
What makes the average person benefit from a bilateral relationship is when that bilateral relationship creates wealth, job opportunities, academic opportunities, opportunities for people to have a better quality of life. One example, through the PEPFAR program, over the last 20 years, we have spent billions of dollars in Tanzania. And one of the results of that is that the average Tanzanian now lives 14 to 17 years longer than before the PEPFAR program, because PEPFAR not only addresses issues of HIV/AIDS, but malaria. Even with the most recent Marlboro outbreak, we were one of the first external entities to respond to Tanzania's need.
Based on your experience as a diplomat, but also you served as an ambassador to the African Union for 4 years, 2009 to 2013.
Yes.
America pretty much similar, uniting almost 50 states, being run by the federal government. With that vast experience, what would be your message to the Tanzanian government to see this union becomes everlasting, but also beneficial, mutual beneficial, especially to the Tanzanians in the mainland and Zanzibar as well?
Yeah, Tanzania's population is about 65 to 67 million people. In the next 20 years, Tanzania will have over 130 million people. There is no logical way that Tanzania can absorb that larger population without having more private sector investment. So the private sector of Tanzania has to grow. The government itself cannot provide enough jobs for 130 million people. The government itself cannot provide enough education for 130-some million people. So it's going to require private sector investment from places like the U.S. and places all over the world, which means that Tanzania and the U.S. has to work together, as well as other partners working together, to make sure that we tear down the barriers of trade and the barriers of investment that prevents a large magnitude of investment from coming into Tanzania. Tanzania has to create wealth, it has to create jobs, it has to create opportunities, it has to provide for its people to be able to have a sense of economic as well as health security. That's what we want to be with you over the next 60 years, the partner to help you get to that point where Tanzania would not need anybody giving it aid or anybody giving it development. But Tanzania will exist with a trade and investment modality that will create wealth here in Tanzania.
On the other hand, the UK ambassador to Tanzania, David Conker, explains what plans and initiatives the country has in place in years to come as Tanzania marks 60 years of union, insisting the expansion of the private sector and prospects of the business investment of the sustainability of the union. Here, more details.
Tanzania is we all know Tanzania is a very youthful country. If you look at the demographics, you know, most people here are under the age of 35. And it's young people, we know, like young people everywhere. They want jobs, they want prospects, they want to get on in life. 90% of all jobs in the world, globally, are created not by governments, but by the private sector, by businesses. So building up the private sector and giving that and energizing that as much as we can in partnership with the Tanzanian government, I think is the single most important thing that we as a partner can do, but also that the Tanzanian government can do for its youthful population. We're already the second largest foreign investor in Tanzania. I want us to maintain that position, and I'd like us to do more trade between the countries to generate jobs. And just this morning, there was an announcement of a suspension of the any duty that would be paid on imports to the UK of cut flowers from East Africa. This is just one example of where Tanzania could benefit from this by exporting more horticultural product, particularly flowers, to the UK and grow its market share there. That will in turn help to generate jobs here. The second thing that the UK has to offer, I think, is working in the international system to encourage it to be reformed in a way that can help countries like Tanzania access the financing they need on sustainable, affordable terms to tackle climate change and issues like that. And then the third, and we're already doing that, we're working very hard with the international financial institutions, the World Bank and so on, to encourage a greater focus on lending more money to the countries that most need it. And then the third thing is the specific funding that we bring on bilateral development projects. Those include in education. Therefore, it's not just the money or the funding, but the expertise that that money is able to buy and support in country. And we do that a lot in education with our Shuli Bora partnership with the government. We're doing it in healthcare. I mentioned with our new partnership on healthcare resilience and healthcare systems.
And in Africa, Tanzania's union also remains exemplary, forging everlasting ties with neighboring countries, as explained by the ambassador of Mozambique to Tanzania, Ricardo Mtumbwida, when talking to TBC News.
Kwanza kabisa ni kuwapongeza wa Tanzania kwa muungano huo.
First of all, I would like to congratulate Tanzanians for staying united. 60 years is not a short amount of time. We truly must congratulate all the Tanzanians for this significant milestone. I would also like to congratulate the founding fathers as well, Mwalimu Julius Kambarage Nyerere and Sheikh Beid Aman Karume. As the ambassador of Mozambique to Tanzania, I'm happy to see that the union keeps thriving. As you may all know that the liberation struggle of Mozambique started in Tanzania, and Frelimo, the party that fought for the independence, was established here in Tanzania as well. And even the founder of Frelimo was brought to Tanzanians by Mwalimu Nyerere.
The Russian ambassador to Tanzania, Andrea Vetisian, says Tanzanian culture, unity beyond religion and ethnicity are some of the unique factors that has played a key role in the 60 years of the union of Tanganyika and Zanzibar.
The culture of people living on the isles and on the continent has always been very close. Actually, these are the same people with the same culture, speaking the same language, and living close to each other. Zanzibar is not far away. It's absolutely here, where you can see it from the coast. So in my opinion, it was a very wise decision made by the leaders of two parts of the country, Mwalimu Nyerere and President Karume.
The Japanese ambassador to Tanzania, Yasushi Misawa, also congratulates Tanzania on the 60th anniversary of the Union of Tanganyika and Zanzibar, insisting that the union is a great achievement to Tanzania, highlighting some of the sectors that Japan and Tanzania have closely worked together.
Congratulations to all Tanzanian people for 60th anniversary of Union of Tanganyika and Zanzibar. It is a great achievement, I think, for Tanzania to build a union between Tanganyika and Zanzibar, two nations with different cultural and historical backgrounds, and to have achieved a long-standing peace and development for decades.
In what sectors has Japan and Tanzania had been closely working together over 60 years of the union between Tanganyika and Zanzibar?
Yeah, Japan has implemented many projects, development projects in Tanzania, starting with the construction of infrastructure such as roads, bridges, and also fish markets. But not only such infrastructure, but also promoting agriculture, fishery, encouraging electrifications, supporting small and medium-sized enterprises, providing support in the area of good governance, education, health, water supply, and women's empowerment.
Acting Indian High Commissioner to Tanzania, Manoj Verma, congratulates Tanzania on its 60th anniversary of union between Tanganyika and Zanzibar, and it has proved to be a beacon of peace and security in Africa, distinguishing itself from the rest politically and economically. He furthermore highlights what is in store as a result of the last year's visit by President Samia Suluhu Hassan to India.
In fact, Tanzania is a sort of India considers, or we consider, everybody considers Tanzania is a sort of beacon of security and peace in Africa. Their political system is very stable, unlike other African countries. We see a lot of disturbances, etc. Tanzania has never seen that. So we consider it's a vibrant democracy, and on the occasion of Tanzania's 60th anniversary of the Union Day, I extend a heartfelt wishes to the government and people of Tanzania, which is remarkable. In fact, since the formation of the Union, it has consistently forged ahead on the path of progress and development. As we are celebrating 60th anniversary of the Union, I extend our sincere wishes for continued success and prosperity for the future of Tanzania.
Okay, last year, very recently, President of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu Hassan, made a visit to India, and the visit was described as historic. It aimed at creating mutual benefits between the two countries. What do you think have been the outcome, or what are actually on the pipeline to make sure that we see the fruits of as a result of our visit to India?
Yeah, so the recent visit of Honorable President of Tanzania, Her Excellency Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, happened after a long gap of 8 years, and it marks a significant milestone in our bilateral relations. In fact, the visit elevated our bilateral relations to strategic partner status, and resulted in several outcomes, including signing of MOUs in the area of digital partnership, maritime cooperation, and setting up of industrial park, as I mentioned earlier. In the follow-up of President's visit, there has been ministerial visits, like Foreign Minister of Tanzania, Honorable January Makamba, visited to India in February to participate in this prestigious Raisina dialogue. And during that visit, he met with our Foreign Minister, our Commerce Minister, and reviewed all the decisions which were taken during the President visit. Before that, Minister of Transport of Tanzania visited India in January 2024, and he also visited Cochin Shipyard and to ensure the MOU signed between Cochin Shipyard Limited and Marine Services Company Limited of Tanzania in maritime cooperation.
On the 26th of April 1964, the African nations of Tanganyika and Zanzibar merged to form Tanzania. Despite initial challenges, the union remains steadfast today. As we mark 60 years of the union, here's a brief overview of the union itself, as prepared and narrated by Maria Mubir.
When celebrating 10 years since the formation of the union between Tanganyika and Zanzibar, the celebrated African journalist Peter Enahore asked Mwalimu Nyerere, what has been one unique achievement of the union? Mwalimu gave a brilliant answer: we have survived. And today, when you are celebrating 60 years of the union, it can be appropriate to offer the same observation. We have survived. But it is important to remember what makes our union survive. The union between Tanganyika and Zanzibar was never imposed on the people. This is the union of the people. The people of the two sides of the union, and history indicates people moved freely before the colonialists drew the boundaries that have never touched the heart of the people. Both Tanganyika and Zanzibar struggled for independence when Afro Shira's party was born in 1957. The relationship between Tanganyika African National Union TANU and Afro Shira's party grew from strength to strength and culminated in the birth of CCM in 1977. The union, where there's no doubt, has met a sea of troubles, but all the time the problems have been solved through dialogue and patience. The courage has been demonstrated by acknowledging the problems within are there, but no political union can be perfect. The problems are identified and solutions given. As we celebrate 60 years of the union, it is our patriotic responsibility to guard our union, remembering that this is the only union in Africa which is the real symbol of the dream of our leaders who met in Addis Ababa in 1963, that to have the United States of Africa is possible. The legacy of our two leaders, Mwalimu Nyerere and Sheikh Abeid Aman Karume, can be honored by protecting our union and encouraging other African countries to take a leaf from our union.
And before we wind up the local news tonight, let us now take a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Now, it is time for international news. And here's international news as compiled by Ramadhani Mpenda and read to you by Ahmed Salum.
South Africa will mark 30 years of freedom this Saturday, April 27th, as the country remembers the day in 1994 when millions cast their vote in South Africa's first ever democratic elections. South Africans celebrate Freedom Day on April 27th each year, marking the end of the brutal system of racial discrimination known as apartheid. However, South Africa will on Saturday mark 30 years of freedom and democracy, with much of the interest and optimism which characterized that period having subsided as Africa's most developed economy faces a myriad of challenges. These include widening inequality as the country's black majority continues to live in poverty with an unemployment rate of more than 32%. The United Nations peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, which has helped in the fight against rebels for more than 2 decades, has closed one of its key bases as it prepares to leave the Central African nation this year at the request of the government. The mission, also known as MONUSCO, closed a major base near the city of Bukavu in a ceremony attended by Bintou Keita, the head of MONUSCO, along with DRC military and government officials. The base, along with others slated to close by the end of the year, will be handed over to the military. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric has told a briefing at the organization's headquarters in New York that peacekeepers from Pakistan, who constituted the bulk of the forces deployed in South Kivu province, are leaving after more than 20 years of service. The departure comes after the Congolese government, which was re-elected in a disputed vote at the end of December, said the increasingly unpopular mission has failed to protect civilians from armed groups. Burkina Faso has suspended the BBC and Voice of America radio networks from broadcasting for airing a right to report, accusing the army of attacks on civilians in its battle against jihadists. The British and US radio stations are the latest international media organizations to be targeted since Captain Ibrahim Traore seized the power in the West African country in a September 2022 coup. It is said the decision had been taken because BBC Africa and the VOA had aired and also published a report on their digital platforms accusing the Burkina Faso army of abuses against the civilian population. Burkina Faso has already targeted a number of French media outlets with the suspensions, bans, or the expulsion of foreign correspondents. And global attention has turned to universities across the United States, where students have erected encampment to demand action to end Israel's war on the Gaza Strip. The growing protests have taken root on the campuses of some of the country's top academic institutions, including Columbia and Harvard. The students issued a list of demands to their respective universities, including divesting from any companies that may be profiting from the Gaza war or providing the Israeli military with weapons and other support.
That was international news. Sport news up next. And in sports news, Zanzibar has been selected to host CAF African Schools Football Championships Finals 2024. The second season of Africa's largest youth football competition finals will be hosted at the recently renovated Amman Stadium from the 21st to the 24th of May 2024. The CAF African Schools Football Championship features boys and girls under the age of 15. It is a first for world football and a brainchild of CAF President Motsepe, in line with his vision of investing in the youth of Africa. Winners of both the boys and girls competition will each receive $300,000 prize money, runners-up each receiving $200,000, while the bronze medalists will each take home $150,000. Fountain Gate football women team won CAF African Schools Football Championship for girls for the first time, hosted in South Africa. And on to the next sports news. Young Africans head coach Miguel Gamondi says despite the tight schedule for his team, they are ready to fight for 3 points in every game of the Tanzania Premier League. Gamondi believes that the Coastal Union will play defensively, but they will break them and win the match, while Coastal Union head coach David Ouma says the quality Young Africans play is an advantage for them to show their ability to fight in the field.
It's for both teams, and we'll see what happens. Tomorrow we'll have a tough game, as always, and we'll try to do our best. Doesn't matter what happened before or the last game. I say always football is about the present, and we are hungry to get 3 points because for us it's very important.
Young Africans welcomes Coastal Union at Azam Complex Chamazi in the Tanzania Premier League encounter tomorrow. And that was sports news. Now let us take a look at the weather update for the next 24 hours.
Hello, I'm Amina Saleh from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. Welcome to 24 weather forecasting starting from tonight. The wind is expected to flow at the speed of 50 km per hour over the entire coast, and the state of the sea is expected to be rough. Over the Lake Nyasa, the wind is expected to flow at the speed of 40 km per hour, and the state of the lake is expected to be rough. Over the Lake Victoria and Lake Tanganyika, the wind is expected to flow at the speed of 20 to 30 km per hour, and the state of the lakes are expected to be slight to moderate. Tanzania Meteorological Authority had issued a warning of strong wind exceeding 40 km per hour and large waves exceeding 2 meters over the entire coast and over the Lake Nyasa. Rainfall model indicating chance of precipitation in most parts of the country, especially over the coast, over northeastern Highland, Lake Victoria toward the western side of the country. Tanzania Meteorological Authority had issued an advisory of heavy precipitation over the northern coast, northeastern Highland, central, part of the west, and Katavi. And for tonight, over the northern coast, northeastern Highland, and central are expected to feature cloudy condition, thunder showers over some areas. Over the Lake Victoria Basin and southwestern Highlands are expected to feature cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas. Over the west, Southern region and southern coast are expected to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas. And for tomorrow, over the northern coast, northeastern Highland, central and southeastern Highland are expected to feature cloudy condition, thunder showers over some areas and sun interval. Over the Lake Victoria Basin and west are expected to feature cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas and sun interval. Over the southern coast and southern region are expected to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas and sun periods. Now let's have a look on 4 days weather forecasting. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, thanks for watching and have a good night.
And that marks the end of our news bulletin for tonight. On behalf of the whole team, I am Teddy Mparinyanga. Have a lovely, lovely night.